Here I have a list, and I want to turn it into a table. And you might be looking at it and saying, well, you know what? It looks like a table to me. And it does look like a table, but Excel is not recognizing it as a table. And the first way that I can tell is because when I'm clicked inside of it, the Table Tools tab does not pop up in the ribbon. So this is just a list of information, not necessarily a table. And it's super easy to turn this into a table. And there's a couple of different ways. One, in the Home tab, I can click on Format as Table, or I can use the keyboard shortcut of Ctrl T, T for table. That brings up my Create Table dialog box. It's asking me where the data is for my table, and it picked up the right information. It's picking up A1 through E17. And yes, my table does have headers, so I'll go ahead and click on OK. That's it. Now it's a table. So really, that was a Control T and then Enter. And I can tell that it's a table, not just because it's formatted differently than my list was, but now, taking a look at the ribbon, I see the Table Tools tab. And there's so many things that you can do now that you have it as a table. Of course, I can go in and change the formatting. I can change the table styles by clicking on any of my different gallery buttons on the far right-hand side of my window. If I thought there were any duplicates in this table, there is a button to remove duplicates. I can click on that, but right now there are not. And then a couple of cool features. If I wanted to know my total amount of quantity sold for all the products that I'm looking at here, in the Design tab, I can click on Total Row, and you see right down there at the bottom of the table, a new row was added and it automatically sums up that last column for me. I've sold 203 products all together. But I don't have to leave it as sum. I can click on it and choose from the drop down. I can average, I can count, I can find the highest amount sold, the lowest amount sold, and there's a couple more functions that you can choose from this drop down. But I'll just go ahead and leave it as sum. If I need to add in another record to this table, I can just click on the last cell in the table here, the number 10, and hit Tab on my keyboard. Not only does it add in a new row to the table, but it also picks up on the formatting. Notice that that new row that's been added is now a darker color blue. So it's still alternating or banding my rows. If this were just a list, I'd have to go in and then format this as a darker blue. Same thing if I were to add information, let's say, to the middle of this table. I'll give a click and I will insert. Notice there that it added in a new row for me and it kept my banding. It kept the alternating colors. If this were just a list and I originally had it dark blue, light blue, dark blue, light blue, and I added a record to the middle of the table, well then I would have had to go in and reformat everything from that point down. I don't have to do that while this is a table. Also, tables have automatic filter and sorts. Now I know when I first came in, this list already had the filter and sort turned on, but trust me on this. If it wasn't there, the table would have put it in there for me. All right, I'll close that. A couple of other cool things about the table. I'll go ahead and undo to get rid of that extra line. And let's say this time that I wanted to add in a new column. I wanted a total column. I've got my unit price and I've got my quantity. Well, I want to know what the total amount for that sale was. So what I'll do is in F, I'll add in a header there called total and hit enter on my keyboard. And notice that Excel said, hey, since you typed in right next to the table, then you must want this as part of the table. So it picked up all the formatting that already existed in the table. And that's perfect. That's what I want. So something else you can do with tables. I need to add a formula here that calculates the total. And that's going to be my unit price times quantity. Well, normally what you would do is type in equals maybe D2 times E2, enter that in, and then copy that formula down. Well, since this is a table, I could type in equals still, and this time I'm going to use an open square bracket, And notice that when I type in an open square bracket, it gives me all of my fields or all of my column headers. Well, I want to select quantity, and I'll hit Tab, close my bracket there. So notice that in my formula, quantity is a light color of blue, and Excel also highlighted my field for quantity. All right, this is going to be quantity times, and then I'll type in my open square bracket again, unit price. I'll click on that and close my bracket. The text unit price is in red in the formula, and the field unit price is in red. All right, I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it populates the entire column for me. I don't have to copy that down. Now notice the little lightning bolt that we get that pops up, my autocorrect options. When I click on it, it's asking if I want to undo that column calculation. No, I absolutely want to keep it. But if for some reason you're working with a table and you only meant to calculate one field and not an entire column, you can choose undo. All right, that's perfect. I'll go ahead and click away. So turning a list into a table has a lot of benefits to it. Not just with formatting like I have here with my different color banded rows and my styles that are available, but also I had the option to add in a total row, which easily allowed me to calculate my columns. Tables give you drop downs now in the headings for sorting and filtering. I can remove duplicates really easily now with a table. I can easily extend the table by typing next to it either in a column or adding in a new row just by hitting Tab on my keyboard. I can even extend the table by using the little blue handle on the lower right hand corner of the table and dragging to the right or dragging down. Either way, I can extend my table. All right, so it's super easy to create a table. You just click inside your list and hit Ctrl T and enter, and you see that these are just some of the benefits. I'll talk about some more in the next lecture.